Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 3, Episode 48, where we watch a movie, I don't know, Mean Girls. Chris Lorenz.
I'm James.
Robert Kitts.
I'm Max.
Yo, stop trying to make Max happen.
Okay.
It's not going to happen.
Okay.
All right, so this is our
Movie
regularly
night.
unscheduled program, I guess.
What do you mean? You got to get pumped up. It's the movie night.
We do movie night once in a while.
Sometimes we watch other
I
things
mean,
on the TV.
I might have been more pumped for the last movie night.
ID 42.
That's
I
pretty
might
big.
have been a little inebriated in that podcast.
I think we have a
little
great
ago.
photo of us on our Facebook page
Oh,
that
yeah.
night from the local IMAX theater.
You gotta check it out.
Deep cuts. I don't think we've posted a lot of other photos. We should probably post more photos.
It's okay.
I thought we outsourced all our Facebook stuff to Noah. Is that how?
Yeah, our marketing guy should really dropping the ball.
We really need if you want to be our guy.
All right. We got
Noah's missing tonight, so we got to rip on him, but
we
miss
got to
you,
get
Noah.
back on track. We got to
So-
talk about this big new movie out in the theaters, Mean Girls.
Max,
Ouch.
can you explain to our audience why we're watching Mean Girls?
All right. So here's the story of the ballad of us watching Mean Girls. Rob's never seen Mean Girls. Chris really, really, really wanted to do movie night. The ends.
Hey, don't throw me under the bus on this one.
I think Max was half right with that.
How does the bus taste?
I'll ask Noah.
So I'm pretty pumped because Rob hasn't seen it.
I've
and
never
we're doing
seen it.
we're doing a little prelude before we dip into the movie here.
Yeah, we haven't watched it yet, so I still haven't seen it.
I really want to get Rob's like hot take of what do you think this movie's gonna be? Like what do you like? First off, to set the audience, what amount of how much do you know about the movie?
Well, I
I
think
kn-
that's what this question essentially is.
So like when you did the intro, Stop Trying to Make Max Happen, I knew that was a Mean Girls thing from the meme, so I know that. I know it's in the contention for peak Lindsay Lohan, and also has Rachel McAdams and Tina Fey, and it's some kind of high school, and Lindsay Lohan wants to get into this in crowd of mean girls, but then she like becomes an even better version of the mean girl and usurps them or something. I think that's the movie.
Huh? You know an interesting amount. How do you know so much about this movie if having not seen it?
People talk about this movie a lot.
It's definitely part of the cultural phenomena.
I think you got the setting right, but for this movie, the minutia makes it.
I do love minutia.
Oh, yeah. Who
Stop
better
trying
to examine
make
it?
minutia happen, okay, Max?
But minutia
Max
is
Nutia?
happening.
Oh, Max Nusha. I like Max Nusha.
You can't stop the minutia, Chris. This is who put this on. The minutia will
Yeah.
happen.
It's
That
all
is our
minutia
podcast.
all the time.
All right.
All right,
Well,
but before we roll, is there a Mean Girls drinking game?
I don't know, dude. You can't bring that up on the podcast now.
No?
Oh, I don't know, but if you drink every time a girl rolls her eyes, you're gonna be hurting.
Okay.
Okay, I got a really creative one. Every time Lindsay Lohan drinks, we drink.
Does she?
That was not creative. It's ironic. Look it up. Listen to Alanis Morissette.
All right. On that note, I think we'll be back in a couple seconds with you, but after the movie with our nice hot takes.
To bring us back.
What does Max say when we come back?
95 or 93?
I think
Just
Chris is
say it,
rolling.
Max.
Chris is rolling.
Gotta cut that out.
No. Just say it.
All right. To quote the 1995 movie about dinosaurs, and it was a cartoon, we're back.
Yeah. I was told to hit the
Man.
record button.
That
so it's a
delivery
little
was
janky.
not as good as the first time,
A
Max.
little
You really
janky.
dropped the ball
little
there.
janky on that.
We're just so off the rails.
Off the rails. This
Mean
thing
Girls
is
has thrown us
unhinged.
off the rails.
We may have done that drinking game.
We did not, though.
We didn't. Did we describe the game? I don't know. Did we make the rules?
I was just trying to excuse our off the railsness. But we're usually off the rails.
James, okay, we got to talk about drinking rules because James gave me the best fucking idea.
What?
So, as you're watching the movie, there's a lot. What year did this movie come out?
2004.
2004. There's a lot of stuff in 2004. I feel like that was said in this movie that feels very not okay anymore.
Are you saying this movie is a bit dated?
No, I wouldn't say it's dated. That's not
Okay.
that's not the right word. I feel like I don't know what the right word is, but I don't think it's dated. What the fuck is the host doing? He's shuffling shit around.
Ignore the host.
A-
No, ignore the host. You heard him.
product
We have it
of-
on
You gotta
tape.
get that on the
We got it
soundboard.
on tape. Put it on the soundboard.
It's a product of its era.
It's just it doesn't really like. There's a questionable thing that said you're like, ooh, and you kind of look at somebody, you'll know.
All right,
take a
now
little
hold
swig.
on. Let's
That's
take a
the
step
drinking
back
rule.
here.
There you go.
Like, can we?
I like that drinking rule.
Right, Rob
'Cause
likes
I
it.
definitely. There were definitely some moments like that. Like, ooh,
I'm not a fan of questionable is opinionated drinking rules.
No, you'll know.
All right.
You'll just
Well,
know.
well,
You'll
Brett-
look you, when
well,
you when,
then
you,
what is
when
it?
I look at Rob and I'm like, I don't know. You know, that's your cue to drink.
All right.
Max, do you have some kind of description of this movie?
Yeah. Okay. So for all of you who haven't seen this movie, A, please do so. B, let me sell you on it. 20 years after the devastating alien invasion, the United Nations has set up the Earth Space Defense, a global defense and research program.
We gotta shoot him.
can't even make it through.
He
the
can't even do it.
description, Matt.
Reverse engineers.
Max, what did you Google?
Okay, I'm done.
If you can't
Is
tell,
he
Max
done?
was describing Independence Day 2, which was our previous movie podcast. You
Easter
can
egg.
find on this feed at Who Put This On.
Yeah,
Hell
that
of a
was a good.
movie.
That was some show we talked about that one.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
That-
that I feel like that one's worth going back maybe.
Probably
My favorite part of that podcast was Chris starting off just hating the movie and talking himself into it during the podcast.
Didn't he give it like a top third?
I don't think we gave it top thirds, but by the end of it, he was like, Chris was like, "It's a solid movie."
It's like I had a good time. I'm like, what? Who are you?
I was a little all over the place on that one.
Fun fact about that pod, I participated. I didn't see that movie.
You really made a good choice that night. That movie, boy, I got to tell you. Anyways,
Mean Girls.
so Mean Girls really.
So, Rob, we need your hot take on the movie because this is
What was it?
this is the most interesting thing about this whole pod.
Yeah.
Is your hot take? This is why we're doing it.
Do I just go for the hottest of takes, or do I just give my honest opinion?
It's you do you, dude. This
right.
is all you. You have the next 20 minutes to talk about the movie, what it means to you.
Oh man, so much pressure now. It was definitely a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure if it's like hype. I'm not sure if it's like I can understand how it got to such an intense cultural moment in it. Like, I'm not sure if I've like watched them like, oh yes, I understand why this movie had like such a long impact, but it was definitely a real good movie.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean it's hard at this point to like put it in its right place because it's been 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think is very like it hit at a right time for a lot of people.
Here's how old this movie was. Lindsay Lohan was not a train wreck.
This pre-train wreck Lindsay Lohan.
That's been a long time.
It's
So-
wild.
What is your hot take then?
I don't know if I have a good hot take.
Okay.
That's okay. I have a hot take from before the movie, which is that this was the best movie of the 2000s. I don't know if that's true. There were a
That-
lot of good movies in the 2000s.
When you said what is your hot take, I immediately thought of Max saying that earlier and thinking that's just the most insane thing I've heard.
James is calculating what year Fast and Furious 1 came out.
2001.
Yeah, I'm like, there's a big movie that came out in 2001. I was
This
trying
is
to
also
do the math.
2004. He said 2000.
Oh, I get it, but I'm just gonna say there's a shitload of good movies in the early 2000s.
This is definitely one of the cultural phenomena of
Yeah.
the early 2000s.
definitely.
Of our high school years, my high school years. Some of us
Maybe not.
maybe not.
There's a good chance I only watched this in college.
Yeah, that was my first question. Was when did everyone see this? Obviously, we know Rob saw it.
Today.
Yeah, Rob's is easy. So
I
what was
definitely
yours, Chris?
remember.
Or
What?
Max
When
said
did you
college.
see it?
I'm trying to remember if it was high school or college.
I don't think
Around
I
that
saw
time, I
this
don't
in
remember.
theaters. I'm pretty sure I saw this post theater.
So
There's
yeah, I'm
no-
also curious how people experience this because this is actually the first time I unedited / not on television.
Yeah.
like a network television show.
I don't remember.
Like I've only ever seen this movie on like FX or like or like whatever, like one of the network channels. And so it was really interesting watching it like uncut and seeing some scenes for the first time.
What scenes were cut? I've definitely seen all these.
probably
scenes.
the
A lot of the
coach-
scenes with the parents
Oh,
are
yeah.
very trimmed down. Like there's a lot of like actual shots that are just not there.
You mean the health teacher wasn't cut?
It might have been a little
The
bit.
help teacher definitely seems like something you cut.
There's
for cable
there's
TV.
definitely like a little bit of the dialogue, and I think I made a note of this. Like there's like early on, there's like some of this initial like what I call unnecessary dialogue just feels very filler, and I feel like I haven't seen that before, and so it makes me wonder if they just normally cut that out to like make it shorter for TV.
Oh, I'm sure they cut out a lot just for time.
Yeah. So it was, I don't know, it was interesting for me just to like kind of see like
It's like
some of
the
this for
first time you're
Like,
seeing
what?
the movie
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah, for sure. In its
Oddly enough,
entirety.
I had this happen to me. I watched Dogma like 4 or 5 times on Comedy
Oh.
Central. Then I watched it on DVD once.
They edit
and then
the shit out of
and
Dogma.
it's like, oh my god, this is a whole new movie. There's this one scene that I think really almost ruins the movie for me. Which I'm going
Oh.
to spoil Dogma here for a second.
Okay.
What?
There's
Oh, go
there's
for it.
this poo monster scene.
Yeah.
And it really like the movie without it is so much better.
Yep.
Like it just doesn't go in that direction. And I'm just like, man, I'm so glad I didn't see that scene. So that's my Dogma hot take.
Okay.
Okay.
Liked it.
So we got Rob's overall thoughts on the movie. Max, what's your overall thoughts on this movie?
Love it. It has a real reliance on like excuse me.
Don't cough into the
Throw
mic.
up on the mic
Sorry.
over there. Jeez. What are you, Lindsay
It
Lohan?
has
Come
a
on.
real reliance on visual gags that I think you don't see anymore. Kind of reminds me of like, these sort of blink and you miss it things in like BoJack Horseman. I don't know. I think it's a great movie.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this movie too. I think that like they don't make these movies anymore. Judd Apatow really killed the like classic general comedy.
I'm not sure you can do better than this one.
I have a contender for that.
Interesting.
We'll get to that after we get James's overall thoughts on the movie.
Yeah, overall, movie's definitely in the top.
Top third?
Oh yeah, I mean, in movie, yeah, I don't know how our rating works of movies we've watched on the pod. Definitely, it's in the top third. Like,
What do you mean? This is not over
this is
the
like our third movie, man.
I'm not even sure it's in the top third of movies we've watched on the pod.
we've only watched ID4,
That's not true.
There's
and,
ID4, there's
The
Mean
Fast.
Girls, and Fast 7.
right?
Yeah.
So
It's
are
in
you
the top.
putting this
Fast
above
is in the
Fast
top.
7?
This is in the top.
No, there's only
You
one.
can put. It's not an equally distributed system. We've been over this, guys.
Yeah. Have
We
you seen
don't-
the ratings?
Yeah. Our averages are all over the map. I got news for you. I mean, you have the spreadsheet, but
I have this spreadsheet.
you can tell me the averages are all over the map. We know. Yeah, no. This movie I think is a pretty good time. There's a lot of just interesting like references and things that are just very memeable, as some would put it. And I don't know. I think there's just a lot of goodness here.
Yeah.
All right.
It's so weird
well,
seeing
I think
Lindsay.
it's in the top for all of us, right, Rob? Is it?
Oh,
Yeah, top. Okay. Great.
All right.
Just we're getting the ratings out of the way since we're
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah.
And a movie I think has a contender that is similar tones that I might like more is Easy A.
Yeah, I was thinking of Easy A. Easy A is a surprisingly good movie.
It is a very similarly toned, like very similar movie, but I think I enjoy that one more.
Are you just saying that because it's like both of them are pale ass redheads?
No, it's all about women in high school and them, learning to grow up and not be such a
Yeah.
mean bitch. Like, no,
mean-
exactly. Like,
Easy A is a great movie, and yeah, there's a lot of
it's like a
Crossover.
high school growing up movie focused on women, which there aren't that many. So,
Yeah.
like, I'm lumping them in the same bucket. Obviously, there's nuances that are different.
Yeah. No, I
Guess
enjoyed
what?
the movie.
I've never seen Easy A.
Oh man, Rob apparently doesn't like these coming of age stories of a leading female role.
I guess not. Guess I'm a hater.
I mean,
Hating.
the real thing is if I was looking and I'm like I have the choice, I would pick Easy A over Mean Girls. Is really,
Wow.
Is really what
I
is
need
it-
to rewatch Easy A before I make that call.
All right.
I feel like Mean Girls is more like it's fun to watch with a group or fun to watch with somebody who's never seen it before. Like, there's like a lot of little things that'll happen that are very quotable. Very much like you'll look over, have the chuckles.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
you're moving on. It's fun times.
There was a very high chuckle per minute.
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
I think.
There's nothing that's like what I would say like a deep laugh where it like really gets you.
Yeah.
Like yeah, that's all. Like it's pretty funny, pretty consistent. Like it keeps coming.
You mean you didn't laugh out loud when somebody said they outgayed themselves?
I laughed a lot through this movie.
Okay.
So many times.
Okay.
I think me and Rob had like a real deep laugh, or maybe it was you and me when she said something about he was my first cousin, so it's okay.
Oh man.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, Karen, I think that character's name
I
is
don't.
the one with a K.
Yeah.
Who also, fun fact, I didn't realize this till, but I'll come back to that. So Karen's like the, quote unquote the dumb one of the bunch, right? Or
Yeah.
something. Oh man.
There's an ongoing
there's
thing.
so many things.
There's an ongoing thing in the movie where like she doesn't know the correct number of like cousins, or how many senses does a human have.
Yeah.
It's a good gimmick.
It's just like, wait, is that bad or is that good?
Yeah.
With like the cousins thing though, she's like, yeah, but she has this crush on the dude or whatever, right? And he's like, yeah, but he's my first cousin. So yeah, that's like once removed, or like the next. She's like, you have your cousin, then your first cousin, and then you're like, and the Gretchen character is just like, oh no, girl, just no.
I got a lot of notes written down for this movie.
What do you got?
So
Serious
we
notes.
could start going through some of them. I think some of the like cultural touchstones that get mentioned a lot, like so fetch.
Yep.
That
where
definitely
that
had
comes
like
from.
a phase for a while.
Yeah.
Is that where that came from? There's a movie
Fetch?
called Fetch.
I don't know.
There's
I
a movie
assume
called
that
Fetch.
So Fetch came from this movie.
This is absolutely from this movie and nowhere else.
Okay. I'm just saying there's a movie
I have a
called
question
Fetch.
about your notes.
What's the movie called Fetch about?
It's like a Chevy Chase movie.
That's Fletch
Fletch.
with an L.
I've actually never seen the movie, so I don't really
Guess
know.
what? I have seen.
Stop trying to make Fletch.
Stop trying to make. But Chris, I have a quick question about your notes. Are you going to be going over quotes that people on the podcast had said during the movie?
No.
Okay, I have a whole section in my notes that's just that.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go through everyone's notes.
Okay.
You got to go back and forth, or is it one at a time?
No. I think we should do this as a separate bit, but I just wanted to check
separate bit.
before
All right.
Chris
Yeah.
had some spoiler quotes that I didn't want to get ruined.
Okay.
Let's
So
do it.
now we're in the clear. All right.
One thing that like these high school movies do a lot is they have like the clicky. There's all these cliques,
A lot of clicks.
and like my high school didn't really have a whole lot of cliques, so I was just curious about everyone's high school. high
What
cliques.
kind of high school did you go to?
I went
Give us a little bit.
I went to a high school in the suburbs.
Public, private?
The
What are we
public.
talking? Okay.
There was a lot of white people there,
Okay.
mostly white people.
So your school was kind of a clique, you would say.
I mean, if you want to put all white people in a box, sure. Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah. There was like, I wasn't a jock, but I would hang out with the jocks. I would talk to them. There wasn't like any animosity between
Oh, I
like
see, I
people. Like you were in the band, but you could also be in school sports. Like I just didn't.
They weren't
I just
exclusive.
never understood like, oh, these are the D&D crew. It was just like, well, everyone was kind of like would kind of flow between, and I didn't really understand. At least I still don't really understand like these rigid groups. At least my high school didn't seem to be that way. Maybe I was just like not paying attention. Who knows? It's possible.
You're like, what was happening?
I don't think like my high school also had like the rigid level of cliques you see in high school movies, but like there definitely was like certain groups of people would be friends and hang out, and there wasn't as much kind of cross pollination, I guess. So I've always taken it as like it's just a much more extreme version of sort of a thing that kind of happens. So maybe it's different in different schools, or maybe Chris is just such a popular guy that he would just walk between all the cliques, doesn't even know, because everyone
Like, what
wants to
are
hang out
these
with
cliques?
Chris.
Everyone likes me. What's going on?
Like, I believe it.
It's quite possible.
He's so fetch.
It's quite possible.
Yeah,
Stop trying to make fetch happen.
I was definitely a bit more like Rob's, or maybe even a little bit more so. I mean, growing up in South Florida, schools are definitely pretty mixed of a lot of different types of people, different backgrounds, etc. I wouldn't say that it was like, it's definitely not as extreme as the movies I feel like make it out to be, but there would be more like pockets of just friends that would naturally just kind of form in and around these kind of cliques that were pretty easy to see.
Yeah.
And some cliques picked on other cliques.
Max would click
some
you
Mean
in.
Girl stuff.
What clique were you in?
I don't even know. I mean, so like I guess the thing about it is like it was okay to be in more than one clique. So it wasn't like that exclusive, right? Like you could be hanging out with band people, you could be hanging out with sports people, you could be, doing the whatever. But to go between them was also fine. There's just,
Yeah,
just
that-
these like
that-
it's just kind of like these bubbles. You're like, oh, that's that bubble.
That rings true to me.
Okay, yeah.
I would say, yeah, there were cliques in my high school. Less striations than they describe in this movie. Like, sort of, you got the nerds and the sports people and the cool, mean bitches and maybe some burnouts. Have I said nerds already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you
I'd
a
say-
cool mean bitch, Max?
No, I was. That only came later. No, I was clearly in the nerd section.
Did people in the movie try to be like, or did the people in your high school try to be like the people in this movie?
Have I ever told you about my whole high school situation?
No. I don't know if you want to bring that up on
This
the
is a deep-
podcast.
we're getting
I'm
a
not sure if
deep
we
one.
have an hour on the podcast, Max.
Long story short, like, Gossip Girl is straight up modeled after my high school.
Okay, I've never seen Gossip Girl, so
New York prep school bullshit.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Another thing.
Which Gossip Girl character were you?
I don't know. I've never seen Gossip Girl.
Oh, Max. Letting me down.
Another thing that I noticed is one of the funny things is first thing they do is they go to the mall. And I remember the high school, like hanging out at the mall was definitely a thing.
Oh yeah.
Although my school wasn't near a mall.
Where
So
did you go?
I don't remember.
Was
I
it-
remember
was it a
going to the
mall?
mall.
Okay.
Remember going to the mall was the mall was like a half hour away. So that was definitely like you weren't going there every time. So it was like definitely a treat or like something you do every once in a while. but
Like,
you go to
oh,
the
you're
mall.
going to the mall. Like, ooh.
Yeah, you're going pretty far. There was like a really shitty like mall that was dying, and I don't remember when it died. But like literally, there wasn't anything in there. There was like a Bontons, and like all the other stores have closed. Were closed by the time I was in high school. We did a lot of hanging out in the middle of nowhere. Is really what happened. But I remember the mall being a place that people hang out.
How does one hang out in the middle of nowhere in like Pennsylvania in like the winter?
In the winter, not so much.
Not so much. You're just like hanging out in the basement or something.
Yeah, people's basements. Yeah, definitely. Where are you hanging out then? In the middle?
What, in the middle of
Flo-
South Florida? That's 10-minute
yeah.
drive from the beach. I don't know. The beach?
I don't know. Yeah, well, the audience doesn't know
Well,
you're
where do you-
hanging out at the beach.
Oh,
James.
sorry, yeah, well, update.
You're
But-
insulting the audience here.
Where do you hang out in the winter, though?
Yeah, also the beach. Except you wear a t-shirt.
So was your life basically Floribama Shore? Just going
ooh,
and hanging out
that's
on that
interesting.
PCB.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't the PCB, but it was.
You
South
got to
Florida.
find those dollar drinks, James.
Oh yeah, there was definitely dollar drinks. That was definitely a thing.
For you
dollar
in- for
drinks.
you in high school?
It's great. Like you go to the beach, you get dollar beers. It's awesome. I don't know why. This is why people.
Why
go
do
there.
you even live here then?
I don't know.
James, where did your life go wrong?
I don't know. I'm so far from dollar beers now. It's not even funny. Like I couldn't tell you the last time I've been able to get a dollar beer.
Seattle is pretty far from dollar bears.
It's true.
2 for
Would you say
22.
Canada is closer or sorry, like let's go more specific here. Whistler closer or further? I feel like I
Whistler's
can't really
pretty
get a dollar
expensive.
beer there. Yeah.
Depends how far away from like the Whistler Village you go.
I don't know. I feel like you gotta like drive half an hour out of Whistler to get to that.
Probably not. There's probably some local towny bar you can find that'll give you.
Oh,
like,
definitely.
Really cheap.
I've had like $3 beers here.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely get a $3
All right.
can.
Yeah. You're
People
right.
know-
You're right.
need to know where to get the
Reel
Floribama
it
beers
back
at.
Rob,
Yeah.
where did you hang out in high school?
So there was a mall out in the Ottawa suburbs that everyone around did hang out. But big hangout spot later on in high school was you go to the Tim Hortons.
Ooh, Timmy
Ooh,
Hortons.
Get those
You
donuts.
get some donuts,
Get some Timbits, get a little coffee.
get a little coffee or an iced coffee. And
This-
just hang out for hours just sitting in the Tim Hortons.
This is pre them making like real food too, right?
No, they had some real food.
Okay.
They don't have as much as they do now, but they had some.
Okay.
What do you mean?
That's
You're hanging out in high school. You're just getting some Timbits.
I don't, well,
kind of
I'm
money
just
did you
saying
have?
the
You're not just
local
rolling in the
Tim
Pennsylvania
Hortons
money over here.
nowadays. I hear is way worse than Tim Hortons back in the day. So like,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Wait,
it's-
worse?
Yeah.
I mean,
Rowdy.
that's what
As a true blue Canadian,
People always like to say, "Oh, it used to be better." I don't know if it really did.
Just like anything.
Maybe it
Like,
was
back in my day.
Maybe it was pre your time.
there was
too.
there was a thing that it used to be. They made the donuts fresh on site, and they started getting them. They'd be made centrally and frozen and brought in,
Oh, they're freezing the
Oh.
donuts.
supposedly.
Oh
And
man,
that
Timmy
and the
Hortons
quality
saying
has
it
gone
so.
downhill based on that.
That-
Man, can
that's-
Tim Hortons tweet at us or send us donuts? Either way would be
I
great.
think we got to tweet at them first.
Okay, we'll tweet at them.
Then we'll slide into the DM.
Let's
We
get
really-
Noah. We got to
need
get Noah on this because there's somebody get the internet corner at the internet corner.
Like that's the Dunkin' Donuts model for sure. Like delivering.
Oh, yeah.
Usually you have it like one location makes it relatively closely and then ships it out. But centrally, that's nuts.
The host is laptop is functioning. Oh no! I think we might have to pause, folks. There's water going everywhere. Yeesh.
And we're back. Another minor break. Everything's okay. Max, where did you hang out in high school?
Long story short, I didn't that much.
You're a modern kid playing video games and not hanging out in person.
Well, okay, no, I was just like super busy after school because you gotta be.
What were you busy doing?
I did a bunch of stage crew. Did some. Oh yeah, I had a,
That's just as bad as this movie, dude. Didn't you learn anything?
I learned nothing.
I was.
Rob's just immediately
See-
judging.
Stage crew is good because it's the cynical side of the theater nerds. The ones who are the dreamers, fuck those kids. They fucking suck and they know it.
Man, these clicks are. whew.
Man,
But
talk about clicks.
Anyway,
Never
a
dies.
click within a click right now.
Rare times where I could hang out, like I'd jump on the subway and I'd go down to the city.
Hanging out in Manhattan.
Yeah.
That sounds expensive for a kid. school.
I mean, if you're going to your friend's house and you're ordering Chinese food and playing Settlers of Catan, it's fine.
There's a lot of different details there
Yeah,
that
that's
you
all-
didn't paint with your initial. Oh yeah, I just dipped into the city. You know.
I didn't just go to my friend's house. I just dipped into the city where my friend lives, which clearly he lives in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Not definitely, not on the poor side of.
Living in a condo in the Upper West Side.
You know that prep school life.
Doing fine.
Are these are they like friends? Do they live in like a rent controlled building that's with their grandmother?
Oh,
and,
like the TV show
yeah,
Friends?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, if you got a place in New York in the 80s, you didn't pay that much.
All right. Moving on. So there was some other thing that I wrote down was like there was some point where Regina, like they were trying to sabotage Regina and they cut her nipples out of her t-shirt, and then the whole school did the same thing, and I thought that was one of my better moments in this movie. I thought it was like really categorizes like just somebody does something really weird and then everyone copies them,
Yeah.
and just how like things flow like that through school. I don't think I've ever seen anything that dramatic go through, but like definitely like saying fetch or doing something weird definitely happens.
Got to be a
becomes
trendsetter.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I guess another note that I have written down. Let's see. There was the talent show. We got to talk about this talent show.
Let's talk about this talent show.
At this talent show, it's very clear to me that no one in this movie is anywhere close to being in high school. No one looks like they're in high school at all.
I think the main actors, right? I think some of the extras, you're like, okay,
I don't
sure.
know, dude. Most of these people look like they're in college at the minimum.
I've done the math.
And
Lindsay Lohan could have been in high school when filming this movie.
that makes this talent show even worse.
Oh, yeah.
So the talent show, I mean, the only thing really to talk about is this sexy dance scene they do.
Not
Oh, yeah.
KG whatever Mix-a-Lot guy. With the, we're not going to talk about that.
No,
The-
not right
the-
now.
the
We'll
head
get back to
mathlete?
that if you want. On your
The
notes,
mathletes.
your notes section, we can talk about that if you want. But this like sexy dance scene to what's the movie, James? Or not movie, the song?
Santa Baby, is it?
Jingle Bell Rock.
Jingle
Santa
Bell?
Baby.
Something? I don't know.
I mean,
It's definitely Jingle Bell
It so
Rock.
easily could have
Jingle
been
Bell
Santa
Rock.
Baby.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's really a little disturbing to watch these like supposedly high school age girls do like this really sexy stripper-ish dance. and like makes it a little uncomfortable to watch. James is giving me these looks
Was
like
it a
he
stripper
doesn't.
dance? I mean, they were definitely dressed very, revealing. But
I've never seen a stripper that dances like that, but I think
I think
it's
it was
fair to
more
say
the
it's
outfits,
that.
right? Like,
They were like, they were definitely doing more like flirtatious dancing than like a normal dance.
But that's, I think, the point supposed to be of that. Like,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous for a bunch of high school girls to be doing.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
I get that. The movie wants you to think that.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
But I have this. Okay, I'm going to go down this rabbit hole for a second.
let's
here.
go.
Chris's rabbit hole.
Is that one of the quotes is like I forget the gay guy's name, and
something with a D.
then the other.
Just call him Gay Vince
Dom?
Vaughn.
Dominic?
De-
It doesn't.
Definite.
I'm not even looking for his name.
Desmond?
I'm looking for. So he makes a quote like, "Are you annoyed that they're still using your choreography
Mhm.
to like the other woman
to the original. Yeah,
the
yeah.
original.
Janice.
and like she was kicked out of the group at the end of middle school.
Right.
So theoretically, they've been doing this dance since middle school.
Yeah, is there,
if there's
like-
anything
yeah.
one more more disturbing to seeing these girls doing it in high school is seeing them do it in middle school.
So
Yep.
you just immediately imagine middle school girls.
No,
doing
no,
the dance,
I'm
is what
not
you're telling me.
imagining any of this.
No,
I'm just saying
Chris
that
is
this,
correctly calling out. It's kind of weird.
this is definitely the most, to think about it too much, no bueno situation for sure.
So in a similar note, though, what do you think about Regina's mom?
Oh,
Are we?
Because she's got to be influencing this whole situation. Clearly,
she's not a regular mom.
she is a terrible mom.
She's a cool mom.
She's a fun mom.
She's the terrible mom. Parents that are your friends, not great parents. I'm just gonna throw that out
I
there.
mean, I think there's a balance that can be struck
Obviously, there's like you can't just be like mean parent all the time, but like, and you obviously want to have fun with your kids. You just can't just give them your room because they asked for it. Like that's just too much. You just can't do that.
your mom never made you a mocktail
No.
when your friends came over.
I was really surprised that was a mocktail too.
Oh yeah. Well,
When they
there was
brought
a
it
whole
up.
discussion about it, right?
So was Lindsay.
right.
Yeah.
And it sounded like she could have, if she wanted it to not be a mocktail, it would have happened.
Right. She's like, let me know because if you want to drink, I'd rather you do it in the house
Yeah.
because it's safer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Uh,
Amy Poehler.
Amy Poehler.
Amy
crushing
Poehler
it.
is great in this movie.
She's fantastic. Every scene.
Also, another like person that I really like in this movie is the principal.
Tim Meadows.
Oh,
Tim Meadows.
On fire in this movie.
He is so good in this movie. He is like the funniest person in this movie.
What's going on with that guy's cast? Like,
Oh,
we
no.
got to talk about this.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen this movie in a while, next time you watch it, just notice Tim Meadows and his cast. He's got a cast on his left hand. Left or right hand.
Or
Whatever
one of the-
hand.
one of
doesn't
the
fucking
hands.
His
matter.
right, your left.
Okay. My left
His
hand.
right.
My left hand.
His right hand. Why is it? Why? That's a crazy point of reference.
Rob, do not look it up.
He has his
Okay.
cast on this
Unless you
whole movie.
Yeah, and like, there's a lot of time. It's a whole school year in this movie. I think.
Yeah, it's definitely
or
is.
pretty close.
No,
to.
it is. It starts with her first day of school and then ends at like
The
at
spring
the end.
fling.
With spring fling doesn't end at the spring fling. It ends after that.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think we
true.
see him after the spring fling. I think it's the last time we see him.
I still believe he has the cast.
So I had a question. I wonder if Max knows the answer of, was this actually in the script that he has this cast for some reason? Or did Tim Meadows just like, he showed up for 5 days of filming and he's like, I got this cast. They're like, whatever, let's roll with it.
It's. I guess it'll have to work.
I don't know.
Is it like when Jeremy Renner broke both his arms shooting tag and they had to just film the rest of the movie with both of his arms in a cast?
Yes.
Is that why he was never tagged?
I believe so.
I have to imagine that he just broke his hand and he was just broken this whole film shoot. Which this film shoots can't be that long.
Yeah, Rob said 5 days.
It's
Like,
he's not.
I don't
there
know
for
what
5
it is,
days.
but yeah,
He's shooting this for 2 weeks. 3
this whole
weeks.
movie.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I don't know what
I
the
don't-
movie.
I
It's
just-
more than it's more
I
than
imagine
2
it
weeks to
cool.
shoot the whole movie.
no,
but
I know.
Tim Meadows is not in that many scenes. They could have gotten him through pretty quick.
Yeah.
Maybe he was like, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm moving on.
Max, do you know?
I made it seem like I did. I have no idea. It's got to be he just fell down in real life, right?
Do you think he got hurt on the set?
What if he broke the hand after he'd filmed half his scenes and they'd go back and refilm them all with the cast
what
for
if?
the continuity?
All right, we're moving on. That's where we're going, we're moving on.
Yeah, it would make more sense if they got the cast later.
Do we got to
but-
talk about the baseball bat?
No.
Oh,
That was a pretty funny scene.
That was so good.
I don't know why there was
So-
a baseball bat.
So
Doesn't
for
make sense.
context, if you haven't seen this, very minutia for our
I think
podcast.
we have
as
to
we-
explain every piece of minutia.
No one's really gonna notice this.
All right.
When all the women get like up in arms after the book is released, he just runs out of his office and he picks up the baseball bat on his way, like he's about to like throw down with all these women going crazy in high school.
Okay, so you almost had it.
Yeah.
He grabs the baseball bat from another girl who's about to swing at another girl. So he
No.
steals the baseball
No,
bat.
no,
The
no.
baseball bat was just in his office.
The
sure?
baseball bat
Oh,
was
yeah.
in his office.
Ah, I really thought he grabbed it from
No.
somebody. Damn it.
He might have grabbed it earlier in the movie, and that's why it's in his office.
Right, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Must be.
Oh.
You should tweet at us if you know.
Let us know.
Ooh.
Keep us honest.
Another quote, another thing I've written down is somebody used the pejorative, "You smell like a baby prostitute."
Mm.
I also wrote that one down.
And I was like, what does a
Damn
baby
it.
prostitute smell like?
God.
It's a good question.
I hope that that's not a
So
thing.
your quote was, "How do you know what a baby prostitute
no.
looks
My
like?"
quote is,
No,
no, you smell like a baby
no
prostitute.
Chris,
Was-
your list quotes the movie. James's list quotes Chris Lorenz
Oh, yeah.
saying
Yeah,
something.
I have your quote. So your
Oh.
quote at this point in time, which is why I asked you before you spoiled it. Spoilers.
That was just
How
my
do you know what a
comment
baby
about-
prostitute looks like?
I didn't say looks like, I said smells like.
No, the quotes don't lie.
I think your quotes lie because I never said looks like.
I'm telling you what you said. I don't know.
No, it's definitely not what I said. There's definitely some hearsay. We got to go roll. We got to roll back the tape.
But yeah, great question nonetheless. Smells or looks like.
I feel
who
like
knows?
But the pejorative is smell like. So what does a baby prostitute smell like?
babies kind of poop a lot.
So
Maybe it's a combination of you smell like a prostitute and you smell like a baby.
But wouldn't you say wouldn't you reverse that to not confuse the situation?
I think
Is
is
it like-
prostitute baby or baby prostitute really that different a thing?
Well, depends on how you say it.
Ooh,
How would you say
There
that?
definitely needs to be a space between the two, not like in the movie.
So, like, totally valid to say, you smell like a prostitute, baby.
Maybe they were
Less
saying
valid.
you smell like a baby, you prostitute.
Yeah, but
smell
you
Why
had
is it
it
so
up.
aggressive?
prostitute.
Because they're very aggressive, these plastics.
So I was thinking with like you were trying to get between like a baby prostitute and a baby prostitute.
You lost it.
Like, is it a babyish prostitute or is it the baby is the prostitute? Right? Like you're somehow saying that the prostitute
What if
is younger.
What if it's
I don't know.
What if it's a prostitute for babies?
All right, we're off the. All right,
right,
we're
Chris,
on to
do you
my
have
next
anything
one.
real?
Next one. My next comment is about how Regina goes on an all carb diet,
It's
so
so
great.
good.
which is the opposite of my diet, which is I eat no carbs. So like, and then she asks, "Is butter a carb?" And in the movie, she's eating a donut, and like, there's definitely a bunch of sugar and fat.
Maybe
I guess
she,
sugar is a carb, so
Yeah.
it's just the fat.
maybe she asked Lindsay if all the fat in the donut was a carb, and Lindsay said yes. But they did have the scene. You said you shouldn't be eating the donut; you should just be eating bread. And then the next scene, she's chomping on this giant baguette. It was great.
That was
And
also
then later
like,
she's eating the bread with butter.
she
all
like
carb.
she like cut off a piece of the baguette too to like pretend like it seemed like she was gonna eat the piece, but then she just ate the roll, which is great. Yeah, I love that. Did you have that quote written down, James?
All
no.
of James's quotes are quotes we said.
No, that's why I asked.
No, I'm checking. No, there's nothing on that.
My next note is I love the health lessons. Like
Mm.
at the time, abstinence only was definitely the way I was kind of taught in high school. Definitely the preferred way to teach sex ed. And I love how this movie just kind of like, that doesn't work. Here, have some condoms. And like just that health teacher was really funny.
Oh yeah,
Like
on the chalkboard.
awkward, but like enthusiastic, like very hard to reproduce.
Oh
Very
yeah.
good.
Yeah. Good health teacher.
Just like very nonchalantly inserting "you're going to die" into every sentence. It's great.
Yeah. And
If you
then
touch each other, you will die.
Here's some condoms.
And get chlamydia.
we have to talk about the mathletes.
Mm.
Oh yeah, and my boy KG.
Yeah. The uniforms in the like saying mathletes is just too much.
But this is the thing. If the uniforms don't say mathletes, how do you know which ones are the mathletes?
Yeah.
Why do I need to know that?
Well, so I have a question. So, you go to your high school football game. Does it say on the back of all of their jerseys
It
football?
It's a great
should.
point. It does not. Max is correct.
The only
Most sports do not clarify the sport. I feel like.
okay, so this is the state championships, right?
Yes.
So do they have these uniforms the whole time, or
For
do
the
they get them
competitions.
for the state championships?
You definitely have uniforms for competitions at like a high school sport, if they're considering it a sport.
I don't think
It's not
so.
that crazy. Chris,
I mean, it's not crazy. It's just very boldly saying mathletes, and I don't like it.
we get uniforms for our yearly pub crawl.
Right.
That's a
also,
t-shirt.
you're talking about these uniforms. They're really just like a polo shirt that say mathletes on the back. Otherwise, it would just look like a navy polo shirt.
Yeah, what else do you need?
It does. How do you know like it's anything special?
Why does it need to be special? These people are just answering math questions.
There's
'Cause
the
you gotta-
stars of math.
Yeah.
All right. All right, regardless of that,
Yep.
then they have the varsity jacket
Yes.
that says
Oh,
mathletes
yeah.
on the back of that. Is that not odd, James? Or are you going to yell at me and say
I
that
made
that's
the
not
comment during the movie.
odd? Well, I didn't write your quote down, so
Why-
I don't know.
Yeah, because I didn't yell at
Oh.
you to write it down, and we'll come back to that. But I don't remember varsity jackets. I remember it having the letters because that's the whole thing, right? You get the varsity letter, you have the jacket, but I don't remember it on the back saying like the sport or anything. But I could be wrong. I don't remember.
My favorite part of this was you see the jackets. I'm like, oh, the jackets say mathletes too, and someone was like, no, they don't.
And then, like
then
the
they
next
did.
And then
scene,
they did.
you see them again.
I can explain this fully within the canon.
Give it to us.
What if I said just before the Mathletes finale, the team doubled its funding because a girl joins and they didn't have anything to spend it on because the season's about to
Oh,
end?
that is true.
Bam.
Then what do they need the funding for?
those people
All
guarding
those
the funding? Like
somethings.
that's a real loophole of you add a woman for one competition, you
Yeah.
double your funding.
Yeah.
It seems like cheating.
Yeah, they were really leaning hard into this movie that like there's no women that are good at math for some reason. Like, and then there's like another like joke or like whatever they get to where they have in the end they have to pick one person from the other team
Yeah.
to like go up in the final, the like sudden death elimination. And so each team chooses the woman,
Well,
I
I,
mean,
think
I
the
think
and
it
it's sort
was-
of like implied, but like I don't know if it's like the movie trying to make a point of something there or like
I think
you know
it's
what
like everybody's a mean girl in their own way.
No, I think the point here is that it's easy to find men that want to be part of the math club, and it's harder to find women. So, like, they might not be as strong in math because there aren't that many that actually want to be part of the team. I think is
Right.
implied, but
Well, I
not
mean,
really
it's,
said out
it's
loud.
related to the whole like Lindsay story of she's really good at math and she's in like she's in like senior level
Yeah.
calculus, but then like she starts failing because she has a love interest in this boy, blah blah blah.
Well, I think it comes from that one guy, TJ. Was his name TJ? Was
KG?
like KG. Sorry,
yeah,
I'm way out of left field on that one. KG was like, yeah, we get a women, you double the funding or whatever. Makes this through line of the movie
Right.
more clear that there's women aren't good at math, but she is good at math. So
but then
like,
because she like gets derailed by Regina
Yeah.
and all the Mean Girl world.
yeah, but no one else wants to be in the mathletes because it's social suicide.
Right.
Everyone in the movie said it was social suicide,
Oh yeah,
which
regardless of what clique you're in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was unanimous.
Unanimous.
All cliques hate that clique.
The bottom of the clique.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely bottom of the clique. It seemed.
Is it? Is it the last? Is it the bottom?
Social suicide. What's worse than social suicide?
Real suicide.
Joe, no, Max.
Oh, Max. Now we
Too
gotta
dark.
move on.
Now we gotta
Now we
move
gotta
on.
move on.
Max.
I gotta
Move on.
keep it
What's your
moving.
next note?
What's my next note? Hold on, I gotta look it up.
Oh my gosh.
I thought that like we're moving way into the movie, but like Regina gets hit by that bus. I thought that came way out of left field and seems very odd for this movie.
Well, okay. So the thing with the bus is there's a couple of moments earlier in the movie where they sort of get you, and you're like, "Oh, okay, you got me." Like the first one with the animal scene in the mall where all the kids start acting like wild animals.
Yeah.
But then that like didn't really happen. It was just an imaginary spoof like kind of moment.
Yeah.
And then again with the
When Lindsay attacks her in the
cafeteria.
cafeteria.
Right. And so then again, she like jumps across. There's like a fight and all that, but that doesn't really happen. And so when the bus happens, you're like, oh, they got me again. But this time I saw it coming. Oh, but you didn't because they're like, it really happened.
It's very well done.
Yeah. And then like, I love how they go to Lindsay in the close up of like, but she's not dead though. Because that would have been too much.
But
And
she
that's how
did say
Regina
she was
died.
dead and
Haha,
they rolled
just
it back.
kidding.
Right. She rolled it back.
For a second, I was like, oh my gosh, did this movie coin the phrase how the bus tastes? And I was like, no, it didn't.
It is one of these things that is the only way to give Regina a good arc here. Because in order to have sympathy for Regina, there has to be a reason. And this is the only way you're going to make that happen. Is if she gets critically injured.
Yeah.
And then miraculously recovers very quickly, we might
Oh, yeah.
add. I don't know what's wrong with that dude's hand, but like she recovered flawlessly. She's walking. She has a neck brace, but like that's the worst of it. She's able to go to this dance.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to school.
Broke her
for like-
spine.
for like a year. There's just so long you're gonna be out.
Yeah.
And like you've avoided the paralysis. You just gotta, count your blessings.
That's true. And like, how does that that bus driver? What happens to that bus driver?
So
It's like
now
you
we're
go-
going way to the end, but like I have a real question
she
about
just,
what
she just
buses
ran
do.
out into the road. Like it's not the bus driver's fault.
No, man, there was that
can't
road.
be
There was a
hitting
lot of
kids.
room. That bus clearly could have saw the person walking across there, and then it happens again.
No. They rolled that back.
That's a fake out. They rolled that one.
Right, but here's what I want to get at, which is what's going on with these bus drivers? Why are they hitting all these kids
like, there's no reason for that bus to be going that fast.
in front of the school?
Like, A,
With all
in
these
front of
kids.
the school.
It's in like the school parking
And then B,
lot.
there's kids right on the sidewalk. You can't be going that fast.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Definitely.
Gotta slow it down, bus drivers.
That's kind of like all my quotes here, actually. Those are all my points I wanted to bring up.
It was some solid quotes, solid points. James, you
Okay.
got a list for us?
I do have a list, and it's a list of quotes said by the people on this podcast while watching the movie. It's not that long of a list, and the first one is a Chris Lorenz original here.
Ooh.
Quote,
It's very good.
"Who wants hard boobs? Hard boobs are gross. Write that down."
It's really the write it down that makes it
Yeah.
out.
He just barks at me while I'm watching the movie over here.
It's
Looks
part of-
at me and just
Hey,
write that down.
It's part of his hosting.
He's
You
part
were-
of his hosting, he says.
You were taking notes. So it wasn't like, hey, get your phone out and you just start taking notes immediately because this is funny and what I said was funny, so you should write it down. Which is almost what happened, but not. You had your phone out. I'm like, hey, you should write that down.
I mean,
Because wanna talk.
the quote is a quote for a reason.
Yeah.
I think you might have continued after that quote and said, hey, well, but something.
No.
But that was the quote.
That's pretty much what I said.
But
this
yeah,
was
hard
in-
boobs are gross, huh?
This is in relation to Regina's mom and the other really gossipy woman is the one that said it.
Gretchen.
Gretchen was like, "Oh, watch out for her boob drop. Her boobs are really hard. Her
boobs are rock hard."
That's a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
and I think that would I'm just out in that situation. Hard boobs, no thanks.
No thanks. Oh
so,
man.
real quote.
Real quote.
Take it to the bank.
Next quote. Rob. This is like 24.
It did say that.
So what made you think this is like 24?
So there's some scenes where they're on the phone and they do the nice split screen, so you can see them both talking on the phone. And then the third person slides in, and there's multiple people all on the phone together and all in split screen. And it was like, I got brought back some good memories.
Oh yeah. Then they go to the fourth, pops in and out.
Oh yeah.
I really like this point too because this does draw some memories of like when three-way calling was like still a thing that you would do, or like a group call, like a landline. I know there's kids out there to what the hell is that? But it was.
Well, I mean, a
fun
group
times.
call. People know what group calls are, James.
Yeah, I don't know. Not on landlines though.
When you see
No.
when Snapchat suddenly says people are trying to call you, and you're like, no.
Right. Well, no, you got to answer. I don't know what you're doing. Snapchat group calling's fantastic. But outside of that, also it's like the fact of like knowing how to click between the groups.
Oh yeah.
Was obviously the one girl, Karen, I think, totally messes
Struggled
up.
a little bit.
Talks to the wrong person more than once or whatever. So yeah,
It was also call waiting is when you click
Yeah.
to the other person. Group calling is when you just have all people in it. Is that like how recent is that? I know I've always had could do that, but
Like when did that become a thing?
yeah.
I think in the 90s.
Is that a 90s thing?
I don't
there's
think it was a thing in
This
the 80s.
brief period, where this was a thing, like 95 to 05. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the era.
yeah, that's the right decade probably. The next one, Chris Lorenz. Why would you want your feet to smell like peppermint?
it's a good question.
Maybe this should be our description. Just weird things Chris says.
So yeah, so I think this was in context of when they were trying to mess with Regina.
Yeah.
And they were scheming to like kind of ruin her life. They kind of developed
their-
these strategies.
Their big plan is they put foot cream in a face cream container. It's the same shit.
and that's
But-
why Chris was like, "Why would you do that?"
Well, I said that, and then I said, then the one guy says, "Why do you smell like peppermint?" And I was like, "That's weird that foot cream smells like peppermint."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it did work though. Whatever the dude there stopped kissing her. Didn't go well. The next one is how do you know what a baby prostitute smells like? Next one, Chris, are you talking to Max here? Really doing a shot? Max responds, "It's fine. It'll be there when I need it."
When did you need it, Max? When did you need it?
Here and there.
There you go. Here and there.
I just want to roll back a second here. Early in our conversation,
Yes.
James claimed I said, "What does a baby prostitute look like?" And he just said, "I wrote down, what does a baby prostitute smell like?" So I just want to be vindicated by James.
Not vindicated
in
at all.
In the
I wrote
tape,
down.
in the
looks
tape.
like.
You can hear it. I'll roll it back. You said, "What does a
don't
baby
argue
prostitute?"
what I said. What I wrote down, I also still have written down as looks like. I was trying to just move on from the topic.
Okay,
but now we're digging
okay,
the wounds
okay.
open again.
Okay,
So that's what I did say it looks like.
you might have to share that somewhere.
I'm going to
not
have to
gonna
agree
believe
with
you.
Rob on this.
Thank you, Max.
Last quote. I thought I had more about the movie here, but anyways, the last one is a Chris. The girls have gone wild, Rob. I think this is when the principal
Well,
dude.
he's literally quoting the movie because you say it in the movie.
I think the principal dude is like, the girls have gone wild.
No, the secretary
the
tells him
secretary. The girls are going wild. And it's just like a very what? You kind of look around and you're like, did they say that? I can't believe they said that. And
I
that's
mean,
what Chris
Girls Gone Wild
Do
was
people
pretty
still
big
know
right
what
now.
Girls Gone Wild is? Like that to me felt like a very 2004 reference. Like,
I feel
oh,
like
yeah.
the phrase still.
Depends on your
No.
generation.
I guess depends on your
Like if you were, what are the new ones, Zillennial or whatever?
I don't know what you're
Zoomers.
talking about.
People born after 2000 probably don't know.
Millennials or Zoomers?
Is that official?
But
Or
anyone,
make it
but
up again?
anyone,
The
Older than
Insta
that.
generation.
the
The
Graham,
Graham generation.
The grammars.
The
I don't.
Kelsey Graham.
We would
We're definitely aging ourselves a lot way bad right
we
now.
definitely in the Graham generation.
The Kelsey Grammer generation.
All right.
So,
I'm gonna roll us back to I'd never seen Mean Girls. Then I was thinking more, because we did on the pod we did Lindsay Lohan's Beach Club earlier this year, but I missed that pod.
I did
I went through the Lindsay Lohan IMDb. I had never seen any Lindsay Lohan content until tonight.
Holy
You've never seen The
shit.
Parent Trap?
I've not seen The Parent Trap.
That's wild.
Nuts.
I mean, Parent Trap must be like the best one, right?
I mean,
I
well,
looked
the
at
worse
Rob, but he
than
hasn't
this.
seen it.
You've. That's where we want to go. What is peak Lohan?
this.
Lindsay Lohan's
Ooh,
Beach
yeah.
Club.
It's
We
got to
could
be
get it-
between
what?
this and that and Parent
Max,
Trap. though,
compare
right?
this to Lindsay
Yeah.
Lohan's Beach Club for me.
Okay, so Lindsay Lohan's Beach Club. Imagine if she had a forced, fake, unplaceable, somewhat European accent, but not really, that she insisted on using all the time.
Would you believe that Lindsay Lohan's character in Mean Girls and Lindsay Lohan's character in Beach Club was the same person? When
Yes.
she grows up, that's what she becomes. The Mean Girl DNA turns her into that.
Mean Girl Beach Club.
Whoa.
Mean Girl Beach Club.
So it's kind of like an
So,
autobiography.
The Lindsay Lohan in Beach Club has seen some shit. Like she looks like her face is just like
Sunk.
she's seen some shit. So I feel like her life has taken a left turn to be the same person, but can certainly be the same person. Which I feel like is a correct description of Lindsay Lohan as it is. So yeah.
He's really,
I mean, on Lindsay Lohan note, I feel like she must have gotten a boob job before this. Like,
Before this movie. Or
I don't
before
know.
Beach
Her
Club.
boobs are huge in this movie.
Are they hard?
I don't. Maybe. I don't know.
Just gonna
I
throw
don't
this
know.
out there. She's 18 in this movie.
So it's okay to talk about.
Yeah, it is.
If we're talking about
Max's legal corner.
the Parent Trap. Not okay to talk about.
No.
But I felt like she's got a real Barbie like kind of look going.
Plastic almost.
Some would say.
When we were talking about how she doesn't look like she's in high school. I find like the early scenes she does, and as she becomes more plastic, she looks less and less like a high schooler. So I actually don't know. Like, it might all be a lot of the makeup that makes her look so much older than, and like, which one was the more natural Lindsay Lohan look? Yeah.
There is like the first scene or two where they're like looking down at her
Yeah.
and like making her seem like aloof, kind of. She definitely seemed more younger. She definitely seemed younger.
Yeah.
But as she like gains confidence and then starts wearing more and more makeup, sure, yeah, I mean, she But everyone around her doesn't really look like they're in high school, even at the beginning of the movie.
No, that's true. She seems a little out of place almost because she actually kind of looks like she should be in high school,
Yeah,
and no one else does.
I
So
think
James,
that
you vote for Parent Trap. This is peak Lohan.
I think so. I don't know. Like, I feel like the other thing with Parent Trap is it's another one of those like just really iconic movies. Felt like I've seen it a bunch. For one, I don't even remember why. It's just like for some reason it's always on, whatever. And I don't know. It's definitely geared at a younger person, which closer to her age at the time. It's also kind of cool that, you know, like she filmed these two characters and like that whole interaction, that kind of thing hadn't really been, I felt like at least at the time hadn't been done before. I hadn't been really seen that much before. So there's kind of that uniqueness of it.
I'm reasonably sure The Parent Trap is a remake.
It is
Oh, it
Yeah, it
definitely
definitely
is.
is. Yeah.
from like a.
But
50s
James,
movie or
it's
something.
like James.
But like, I'm
hasn't
not
seen
seeing that.
Sure,
like,
sure, sure.
I'm watching
Sure.
something from the 50s. Come on. You crazy?
it. No.
So is this peak Rachel McAdams?
Who?
Regina.
Gotta be, right? What
No.
else did she do?
Is
She did.
she in anything else?
I'll give you a couple.
She was in something recently that was very good.
So she was in some of these. I know you're going to dismiss. One of these is actually good. So she was in the True Detective season 2. She was in Doctor Strange. She was in Wedding Crashers.
Oh.
Who was she in Wedding Crashers?
She was
Rachel
the
McAdams.
what's his name? Owen Wilson main love interest.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I think this probably exercises her acting ability the most, but she's generally pretty good.
So similar. I was kind of curious with this one. I the only first time I made this connection, but Amanda Seyfried.
Oh yeah. She's
Yeah.
been lost.
She's in a ton of stuff, and I hadn't really drawn it back to Mean Girls But this was the first time I just come like, wait, she's the lawyer in Ted too.
Oh, yeah.
And totally is. And like now that I've seen it, I can't not see it. But I totally hadn't made that connection before. She's been in a bunch of stuff though. Mamma Mia, In Time, Jennifer's Body,
I mean,
bunch of shit.
this is definitely peak Lindsay Lohan. Like, let's be clear. The
Mean
only other
Girls,
contention is Parent Trap.
Yeah.
Not Beach Club.
No, no. Rachel McAdams. I don't know.
Yeah, there's not too much of hers I've actually seen, I guess.
I think it's this or Wedding Crashers.
I mean, Wedding Crashers definitely. I like that more than this movie.
So that gets to best movie of the 2000s. Wedding Crashers is also a movie in the 2000s.
There's a lot of good ones.
I feel like that one I'd put above Mean Girls. Sorry, Max.
That's okay.
I think that as a cultural touchstone, this movie is better and like more significant.
What was
But-
the most significant movie of the 2000s?
Avatar.
Shut up, Max. You got those.
You also got The Hangover in 2009.
Hangover is also a solid choice.
Kill Bill Volume
That's
1,
not a-
2003. Batman
Bill, no.
Begins,
But yeah,
2005.
you got Dark
Well, there's
Knight.
so many.
You got Toby Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's going to be The Dark Knight.
You got
Iron Man.
Oh yeah, the first Iron Man's all the way back then too. There's one other one.
What
I
about
was
the
gonna
Incredible Hulk, though?
say. Shut up.
I mean, yeah, there's so many. You got Castaway in
Oh,
here.
Lord of the Rings. You got the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy
yeah.
too, and you got a lot of the
Yeah.
Harry Potters too.
A lot of Lord
Yeah,
of the
no one
Rings.
cares.
Actually, in terms of cultural significance, Harry Potter's pretty big. Although it was a
Yeah,
book
but the
first.
books are more, and they came out in the 90s.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. I was gonna clarify.
well, not all the movies came out in the 2000s either, because they were still pumping them out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're still pumping them out. Have you seen them?
Oh,
Uh,
that's right. I forgot about those ones.
I have some quotes we can work on. Some audience quotes.
More
Audience quotes?
Yeah.
More
Give it to me,
audience
Max.
quotes.
What audience?
We're the audience, dude.
Oh, what do you mean podcast people?
So there's a section of the movie where Janice, the unpopular girl, discovers that mean girl Lindsay Lohan is having a party without her, and she says, "You are a mean girl. You are a bitch." And this made
what? That's
that made me think, what if they called this movie Bitches?
just bitches? No, I thought at the time we said, what if the movie was called Mean Bitch?
No,
or Mean
but
Bitches.
you could.
You could
I just
definitely call
thought
this movie
bitches.
bitches for sure.
Oh man.
I wonder if that was the working title.
That probably was the working title.
I also have a thought. When Regina is writing in her book, she says, "Nastiest skank I've ever met." What happened to the word skank? I feel like it's really out of use.
I feel like that's a regional word. Because you moved out of New Jersey, you stopped hearing the words.
I don't think I ever really heard it.
What city are they supposed to be in this movie?
North Shore.
Where's that?
Nobody knows. It
Okay.
seems like
It's,
California.
it's like Springfield. It could be
Generic.
anywhere.
It could be
Yeah.
anywhere. Okay, but
It sounds like
It seems
it's,
like California.
the weather made it seem like
but if the
Southern
word
California.
skank is regional, then maybe it has to be in New Jersey.
Yeah, I think it's more of a regional word, Max. Somebody look up the region. Where's Noah in the internet corner when
It's
you
true.
need him?
We lost our internet corner. What?
Alexa.
Also, the fugly. Like, that's the only time that I've ever heard that word is from this movie.
I love that word. I don't use it, but it's kind of fun.
Are you gonna start using it now?
The first time I ever heard it, the first time I asked what it meant, I like fell over laughing. Love a good portmanteau.
All right, Rob, to close this movie out,
Yeah.
give us your favorite moments.
Favorite moments.
I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Put me on the spot.
Or favorite moment.
Well, we talked. It was partly because we talked about it. It's in my mind, but I did enjoy the whole scene with the principal and the bat, and just his whole reactions to the riot Bracy breakout in his school. That was pretty good.
That was great.
On that note, when you pull the fire alarm, it just makes the sound. It doesn't make the water all
Well, maybe
come
if you
out
hit it with a
right.
bat, it works differently.
You ever hit a fire alarm with a bat before?
No.
Yeah.
And that definitely wouldn't do anything. You got to pull the alarm.
I also just, like the scene where the Janice comes back to the party and she's just leaning out the sunroof while the guy's like, "I gotta get back, it's curfew." I enjoyed that whole bit pretty good.
I'm not stopping this car, and just slowly keeps moving. I got a 1 a.m. curfew. It's 1:10.
a lot of little moments are good. in this
Remember
movie.
those times of curfew, Chris?
I do.
What was
it
your
was
curfew?
state sponsored curfew at
State
11
sponsored, man.
because I had, my license was only valid till 11, so you had to be back by then.
What's
so-
your favorite moment, Chris?
Oh, I was gonna try to transition, but
What do you transition into?
I was gonna talk about Beach Club. We gotta talk about the Beach Club.
We got to talk about Beach Club.
Chris, you want to learn about fire sprinklers?
No,
They're fascinating.
One
I'll tell you
last-
about it later.
One last random thought on the movie I had is there's a lot of narration in this movie.
Yeah.
And part of at one point I had thought of, some movies they do the director's cut and they take out the narration. So I was imagining what would the Mean Girls director's cut be, where you take out the narration, you do other artistic choices, and it'd probably be terrible. So that's my random
No.
thought. Chris, tell me about Beach Club.
Beach Club. So Lindsay Lohan. We haven't talked about the finale, right?
Oh no,
Yeah. So the finale happened.
big time.
Have you been watching all of them?
I watched all of them.
Oh wow.
Incredible.
So
Dedicated fan.
spoilers for
You don't think it's peak Lohan? You watched the whole season.
no, she's.
That is correct.
I mean,
She's seen some shit, okay, Rob?
she's seen some shit, and she does not know how to handle it.
Oh no.
She's just like, still this. I can't tell you exactly who won, and I'm not going to go look it up because I really don't care that much either. But
Wait, there was a winner?
there's some point like 6 or 7 episodes in, they're like, there's this as I was going to get to, there's this pervasive tone throughout the whole show that they're firing people. Like you gotta like work hard or you're out of here. And they like fire. We talked about how they fired the challenge person.
Yeah.
And they fired somebody else, and they were gonna fire somebody, but then Lindsay Lohan was quote unquote nice and didn't fire her because she also has seen some shit, and they
There's a moment.
there was a moment, definitely a moment. So like at some point there was like an episode, there's like 2 episodes left. They're like, well, there's only going to be 4 of you moving on as brand ambassadors.
Oh damn.
So like I was thinking like, okay, are these the 4 people they want for the next season? And they're like, oh, we'll have a good excuse to get rid of everyone. And we're just like, this is what it's going to be. Or I'm not sure if like they actually are using these 4 people as brand ambassadors between seasons. I'm not entirely sure
Seems unlikely.
if they're like I mean, they could work. They were shown quote unquote working. So what else are these people doing other than trying to be social media influencers? So like working at a Lindsay Lohan Beach Club probably provides you some opportunity to like do that stuff as well. I don't know.
Seems like a terrible opportunity.
Regardless, doesn't matter. The surprise thing was the really annoying guy that was terrible the whole season. He is a brand ambassador
Great.
for no reason. And the girl, I feel like there's like the woman with like really weird hair and was like really boisterous did not make the cut, but she was on the show till the end. The surprise at the end was that instead of 4 people, she cut the envelope in half and gave it to 5 people. So she split one in half.
What a twist.
What a twist.
Oh man. Lindsay's so generous.
She's so
Wait,
generous.
Are you saying she pulled the fucking crown move?
Yeah, she definitely pulled the crown move. And so,
Can't
yeah.
believe she did the crown thing.
It's unbelievable.
And like the summer really accelerated on that show too. It was like a whole summer in like 8 episodes. And it was like nothing really happened in a lot of them. And so I don't know. I can't imagine. I don't even know they're making a season 2. But it might be another side content TV just because how ridiculous it is.
They made another fucking season of Siesta Key. They'll do another season of this.
I don't know. They
you
don't
never
have
know.
1-800 Ask Gary bankrolling Lindsay Lohan.
They have
Or
Lindsay
do
Lohan bankrolling Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan, I don't think has it money anymore.
She's doing fine. She has a beach club.
I
She's
mean,
got multiple beach clubs.
MTV is paying her to be at a beach club. That is true.
No,
She-
it's her moving on.
She claims she owns multiple.
I know she claims that she owns them.
All right. Well, I think that's it for us this
Yeah.
time. Coming up in a couple weeks, guys,
Ooh.
the season finale. So if you're like really need to get your backlog finished, like you want to finish around, you want to start really wrapping that up.
The finale festival.
The finale.
Go back
festival.
and watch Beach Club.
Yeah. You can find us on Twitter at Who Put This On. You can find us on Facebook.com/Who Put This On. You can give us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time. It's not paused.
It's not.
It's not paused.
We're
We're
gonna
still
just
on.
keep going on, Rob. I think we just have to keep it rolling. Why half the sound crew and the
So-
host just
so
like
James,
trying to deal with a flood of water. That's
James,
Oh,
give me
sorry,
some of those
Chris.
quotes.
I feel bad
Give
for.
me some of those quotes.
I really feel really bad for laughing. We gotta.
Oh, we're editing this out.
So the first quote,
well, maybe if we're gonna edit it out, you shouldn't spoil the quotes yet.
dude. The first quote though,
It's so good.
it's a Chris original.
Oh, I love Chris original.
Chris says, "Who wants hard boobs? Hard boobs are gross. Write that down."
It's really the write that down.
The host not only says write it down and expects everyone to jump, but looks at me and goes, "Yeah, write that down. Be sure to write that down." No one else is writing it down. He's yelling right now, but I wrote it down for him. So the next quote is a Rob. And so this is, keep in mind, these are quotes said while watching the movie. This is like 24.
Oh yeah.
So could you give us a little context? We're not deleting this, Chris. Chris is still yammering about stuff. We're going.
We can delete it.
We could, but like I feel like we should just keep it doing.
We should delete it. There's a lot more than you're just saying those quotes.
All right. James, hold on.
Oh,
we're
my
gonna
God.
we'll
We're gonna roll the tape. I thought that was a good cut though.